I don't. I mean, other than Observer, I feel like I don't really like Post maybe, but I don't really watching a whole uh, shows in general for Raw and stuff like that. You?
It's like,
Nah.
nah.
Man, on my work, brother.
This is one time when I can tell by looking in your eyes you actually mean what you
Look at
say.
And
You know, Sting, we have a history that nobody around here knows about.
Hulk Hogan was fed up.
And I owe that much to
He
you.
was 16 shit.
sick of
Okay.
it, man.
Does this mean that the real Hulk Hogan is back?
Does it mean the real Hulk Hogan is back?
Answer my question.
This is the real Hulk Hogan, brother. I mean, come on.
A little
how-
shred of
how's
honor
that,
and
how's that?
dignity? Is it still there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No, because like
Come on, Hulk. Knock it off.
No,
Answer
come
my
on. You
question.
just don't get it, do you?
Christmas party, I was like, I'll bring that.
I'm trying to make this work my way.
Oh, I poured vodka in here.
Oh, you poured
The fans
vodka.
will always be there.
Oh, you
I
didn't
can
drink
drink
tequila.
You know what? You're forgetting.
We'll
You're
get there.
forgetting that
We'll
I
get
have a history with you.
there. Oh, man. Damn, we
You're
got 37
forgetting.
people
I
already?
remember what it was like the day you came in, what your mindset was like when you came to
Sorry, guys.
WCW.
Let's work.
You came in with a positive attitude.
Shout
You
out.
wanted to be a positive
we
influence
did
to
promote it.
WCW, to all the
Sean
wrestlers there.
My bad. Okay.
Sean retweeted it too. So
Oh, shout out to Sean.
yeah.
Hey, so yeah, Cam Hawkins, my man Brian Z here. Yeah, so Sting's last match. What are your thoughts on Sting's last match, Brian? Let's talk about that first before
I
we get
remember
into
that.
actual
You
like
had respect for me. You had respect for the groundwork.
We'll get into
that I
actual
had already
content.
laid.
Um,
Respected you. I wanted to follow
I'm
in
sad.
your footsteps.
I'm
Why
super
are you sad?
I'm super sad, man. Like
Remember
just
what I
because
was
it's
talking about a
over.
few weeks ago?
Like
I was talking about all the fans
I
buying all your
feel
stuff, all the
watching
wrestlers
like
that worship the ground
if
that you
you've
walk on.
provided any type of Sting, well, I mean, obviously you have, but like I know yours isn't like fresh, but I mean, obviously I go back and read Cam's.
My shit is played out.
Yeah, but go read Cam's stuff anyway. It's still one of my favorite things that you've done.
Is this a legacy
But
that you
just
wanna leave
seeing
behind?
all
This
like
is
the
it
good
right
content from like the Players Tribune, it's just like
Is this a legacy you want
I was trying to
wrestling
think
fans,
of
all
like the
wrestlers?
phrasing or words that AEW's done with like this entire presentation.
Mhm.
This is like Brody Lee type shit. Like, you know what I mean? Because you get like the vibe, like not in like, oh my god, we have to celebrate. Like you're celebrating this guy's life, but he's still with us. You like, you know what I mean? And I'm watching like if you watch that Road 2, that last little 2-minute clip, I've watched it freaking 100 times. I'm just like, God, like I don't want you to go, Sting. Stay.
Who the hell do you think you are?
You know, and just to see all the stuff in the Players Tribune and taking a step back and realizing this guy's been wrestling for 30 years, Cam.
Yeah, man. 4 decades of wrestling. I think that what's so cool to me, and the reason I wrote what I wrote, AEW to me is the best American company. I don't want to speak on Mexico and Japan without having like that deep knowledge, but AEW does the best job of any American company I've seen of really respecting their legend, right?
Yeah.
All wrestling legends. They treat them with respect. They don't feel the need to embarrass them. They're not on nobody's kiss my ass club. You know, they're not getting whooped by younger wrestlers. Like there is a reverence to it, right?
Right.
So I think that
Is this what you want?
watching it come to an end in a situation where the respect has really been paid, I think it's good. I think this is how things should go now, right? Joker Sting. Sting said, "Yeah, they love me overseas doing Joker Sting." It was great. But yeah, let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. I haven't listened to this ever. I cut out stuff that needed to be cut out because like some stuff was like me, him, and Danny talking back and forth about things and us being fucking fanboys and shit. So I had to get rid of that. But I haven't listened to this. So let's see. Let's take a listen to what me and Sting were talking about. Let's see.
Chopping it up with Steve.
Kicking it with Steve, man. Let's see.
What's why I always forget he's a DFW guy.
Who's Sting?
Yeah.
Is it?
Waxahachie.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, did you not know that? Nah.
He's all down the street. I could have we done this in person, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Let's see what Sting was talking about. South Congress. All right.
So what you're hearing is actually the interview I did with Sting from December of 2022 prior to writing the article for The Ringer, Sting rounds the bases. We really did touch on the maybe false finishes. This is the best way to put it, for his career. Things not working out with a happy ending with different promotions. And then we really got into the idea of what he wanted to do for his send-off, which we are all going to see kind of formulate and finalize at Revolution. So thanks for listening and enjoy.
The South Congress podcast is a lifestyle show that sometimes crosses over into mature territory. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests who come from different backgrounds and experiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Okay, yeah, no worries. But yeah, so I'll start all over. So yeah, I'm grateful for the fans, grateful for this last run. I had no idea that I would have a last run like this. I, to be quite honest, thought that I was done until I got the phone call from Tony Khan. And it's just been a great ride with the fans and the wrestlers. I mean, and the production, the PR people. I mean, really everybody from Tony on down, just overwhelmed with just how incredible it's been all along. I knew I'd have some kind of fun. I didn't know that it would be quite like this. And I say that because there's such a great group of wrestlers, unbelievable talent, young guys coming up, just incredible. To be teamed up with Darby, I honestly do not believe that it would have gone this long and this well without Darby. I can say that confidently now. And Tony he's treated me so good. He's given me the ability to sort of, kind of write my last chapter kind of the way I want, instead of disappearing with your tail between your legs. And I'm grateful for the opportunity that Tony has given me.
No way to say.
So to circle back to that, as far as Tony, what do you recall? And it doesn't have to be specific verbiage, but Tony reaching out to you and saying, hey, we want to bring you in. Do you remember any parts of that pitch, what his big picture ideas were, what his short-term ideas were, when you guys initially talked about you coming into the fold?
Yeah, it's amazing because I knew Tony before I ever got into wrestling, before he ever got into wrestling. Before he started AEW. Got a text message out of the blue from some guy named Tony asking me if I'd sign a baseball bat and give it to his team, the Jaguars. And I thought, who is this guy? So I did a little research and found out, this is legit. This is Tony Khan. And so called him back. And of course, I was happy to, sign a baseball bat for the Jaguars. And time went on. I'd say at least 18 months or so, maybe 2 years. And he called and he said, he texted, started with a text. He said, something along the lines of, Steve, hey, I hear that your deal with WWE might be over with, or you might be leaving, or whatever. And just want to know if you might be interested in coming back to play over here for a little while.
It was tampering.
And I just so I could be above and beyond any kind of reproach, I texted him back and just said, great to hear from you, but I didn't respond anything to do with business. Just said, great to hear from you. Hope to see you down the road. And it was about a year later that I did call him. I just said, I got your text a year ago, and
Sting
what
just
were you
calling
thinking?
out of the blue.
And he just said, man, I just want to know if you're willing to come back and play a little while. And I said, well, Tony, I'm not going to be able to wrestle these young guys. I'm not going to be able to do, half the stuff that I used to do. And so I'm not sure what I have to offer at this point. And he asked me if I would do, or if I was interested in cinematic matches. And I knew that WWE had done some of those, and I said, well, if it's filmed the way I think it is, it was just like a Hollywood movie, basically. Okay, let's light the scene, and set it all up, and could you guys just walk through the motions on what you're going to do, and not okay, everybody take a break, have lunch, and okay, yeah, I could do that. And
Like a movie.
Yeah.
I went to Rome, Georgia, and did the very first cinematic match of my life. And, cinematic with AEW, and
I don't know if Fuck was in there.
the rest is history. It turned out really well, and we got halfway through the filming, and I had Cody Rhodes saying, "Steve, you can still go. You can still do this." Just stop it. Tony Khan, same deal. Steve, oh my gosh, you can still go. You can do this, man. So I stayed away from it as long as I could, but they were so persistent. And then the guys I was in the ring with were saying the same thing. And I thought, oh man, maybe I could try a couple. And so we renegotiated. We did another deal, and
on the roster. Anybody?
I got back in the ring, and I've had a lot of fun.
I was talking to Ricky Starks a couple days ago about the cinematic match, and he was impressed. He's tough to crack. It's hard to get him to say nice things, but he was absolutely impressed. With what you brought to the table. So let's talk about that for a second. I know you did say that having those young guys around has really helped you on this run. I know specifically you're kind of tethered in a good way to Darby, but if you just want to talk a little bit about maybe him specifically, the other guys you've interacted with, and how that's really helped you the last couple of years on this run.
Well, Darby, he came out to the house, and Ricky did too. They came out here to my house. We had a ring set up. I've got a
ring at the crib.
A climate control
converted into a gym
facility here. It's a barn basically, and there's a gym inside here. But we had a ring set up inside here. Tony sent one here, and these guys were good enough to come and work with me and
so smart.
Just kind of see where I'm at. I didn't even know for sure, and it was a little rough, to be quite honest, in the beginning. But they found out where I was, and then I was able to improve and shake off even more of the rust, and it got better over time. But Darby, in the aspect of knowing my limitations and knowing some of the guys that we've wrestled, knowing them personally and what their abilities are, and the guys and their work ethic and what they're like in the ring and how easy or difficult they might be to deal with, blah 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 blah. So Darby has just been worth his weight in gold to me, and all the guys that I've been in the ring with. I mean, I got a soft spot for all these guys. I mean, Acclaimed, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, Ricky Starks, FTR. I mean, Private Party.
I don't know if it was you.
Even the Young Bucks. Orange Cassidy. I didn't wrestle him, but we just had a little moment together, and it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun doing that.
Outside of the ring, yeah. Not to interject, but yeah, I'm remembering it as you're talking about it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'm going to do his gimmick. I said, "You cool if I do this?" And he goes, "What? You're asking me? You would do that?" I go, "Heck yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, man!" And it was just so much fun. I love that kind of stuff. But these guys, they chose to participate, in a good way. I mean, they wanted to make it as good as it could possibly be, and they were willing to sacrifice and elevate everybody. It wasn't, we didn't have, we weren't in the ring with people who were on some agenda of their own. That includes me. I mean, we were all working together trying to make it as good as we possibly could. And, again, super soft spot for these guys, man.
Let me ask you this, and this is something that I've been curious about for years and years and years. We're kind of introduced to you on a national TV level as Surfer Sting. The NWO comes in, we get Crow Sting. Then there's kind of Wolfpack Crow Sting. You go to TNA eventually, and that's more like the Joker Sting hybrid, the Main Event Mafia stuff. What is it about the Crow Sting character that is the definitive Sting to you, if that's the case? What is it about that particular iteration of the character that made you want to carry that on, all these decades later?
Yeah.
It came about at just the perfect time in wrestling. It was the perfect storm. It really was. You had WWE, WWF at the time, and Monday Night Raw, and WCW struggling along as second-class citizens, not having the live show until Ted Turner has a discussion with Eric Bischoff. Why don't we have a live show? I want a live show. And we launched Nitro, and wrestling was really changing a lot rapidly. It was changing so fast during that era. And, when we launched Nitro and Scott Hall jumped ship and Lex Luger jumped ship and Kevin Nash jumped ship and characters were changing. And all of a sudden you had the NWO and Hall and Nash filmed that real cool greeny looking video where they were the NWO. And Hollywood Hogan, appears. I knew that it was time for, everybody really needed a change at that time. And it's like, what am I going to do? Neon tights, blonde hair, this beating on your chest. And, this is not going to last much longer. I got to change. And so, Scott Hall was the one who gave me the
Team Cody or Team
sort of an idea for the look for the Crow Sting. And we launched that Nitro show and the Monday Night Wars happened. And, it was massive, huge, talked about to this day. And wrestling all of a sudden was, it was so mainstream with two different organizations. And the storylines were so deep and so wild.
Good.
Again, fans everywhere, people, even closet wrestling fans were coming out of the closet. And, during the excitement of that time and it just elevated my character, the Sting character, into a place where I'd never been. I'll never forget Eric Bischoff telling me, 48% of all the merchandise sold at this particular time for WCW is all, Hogan NWO merchandise. And the other 52% is Sting merchandise. And I was shocked. I couldn't believe, I'll never forget Eric Bischoff telling me, 48% of all the merchandise sold at this particular time for WCW is all, Hogan NWO merchandise. And the other 52% is Sting merchandise. And, I was shocked. I couldn't believe, and that character, just everything about it, less is more, really worked. And it just put me on a level that I'd never been, and it sort of solidified me as,
can we talk about what
at that level. And I'm not going to.
It's cold.
You fill in the blanks the way you want. I'll let anyone listening to this or reading it.
Different.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
It was just perfect timing all the way around, the perfect storm.
Great.
When I look at guys like you, Kevin Nash, Booker T, people you work with directly, there's this longevity that you have and this, appreciation and still being close to the business. And on the flip side, you definitely have contemporaries who have been less successful, contemporaries who necessarily aren't around anymore. Specifically, what are a few things you contribute your longevity to?
I want to say fucking ugly for the most part.
Oh man, there's a few things. I stopped taking.
I love my fucking Orange Cassidy shirt with Sue. But I feel like as far as a shirt, that's one of their most basic shirts that they have. I'm sure the Brit DMD ones are pretty cool, but a lot of them have just been ugh, this looks like something Hot Topic
bullshit.
Was nah, bro. The Young Bucks would not fuck with this.
Absolutely. When I buy my Ricky Starks shirt, it's just going directly to the closet.
Yeah.
Steroids.
Okay.
No, for real. What do you contribute to
in 1990? I'm just going to cut to the chase.
It's amazing.
What are a few things you contribute your longevity to?
And you pause.
Oh man, there's a there's a few things. I stopped taking steroids
Okay.
in 1990. I mean, yeah, I'm just going to cut to the chase. I mean,
I appreciate it.
A lot of the guys that just couldn't stop. They just couldn't stop. They've all got new knees, new hips, shoulders reversed, and oh man, you know, I have still all the same original body parts, thank God. But that's part of it. Also, my life changed drastically in August of 1998 when I gave my life to Jesus Christ, and I attribute most of anything good that comes out of me, and my longevity is one of the things that's good, I guess, that it comes from Him and no one else. So, you know, I was, you know, addicted to painkillers and drinking and, you know, steroids and drugs and, you know, a lifestyle that for so many years, you know, the human body can only take so much. And again, a lot of the guys, especially in my era, they just couldn't stop. And I was on my way to being one of them. And so it comes out of me, and my longevity is one of the things that's good, I guess, that it comes from Him and no one else. So, you know, I was, you know, addicted to painkillers and drinking and, you know, steroids and drugs and, you know, a lifestyle that for so many years, you know, the human body can only take so much. And again, a lot of the guys, especially in my era, they just couldn't stop. And I was on my way to being one of them. And so I attribute the longevity to, you know, cleaning out, you know, the drugs and the alcohol, the lifestyle, overall lifestyle, you know. Everything got cleaned up. Everything got cleaned up. And so, and then, you know, treating others the way you'd like to be treated. And trying to take care of myself in the gym and, you know, learning how to train differently over the years as your body ages and, you know, the business evolves, and just trying to stay ahead of the game. And I think those are some pretty good reasons as to why I'm still here. And it's amazing too, because I was not going to be one of those guys. You know, I can remember, you know, Lex Luger and I, and, you know, the Steiners, and, you know, that generation of guys, you know, looking at some of the guys who'd been around for so many years and they were still doing it. We're like, why are they still here? Why are they doing this? You know, and I thought, I'm not going to do that, you know, but I'm going to be in this 5-6 years and I'm going to get out. I was the guy who wasn't going to be a lifer in this. And I was the guy who didn't even know what pro wrestling was when I got in. And, oh man, and here I am, you know, and all the guys that wanted to be a pro wrestler from the day they were born practically, and became pro wrestlers, many of them, you know, they didn't last that long, and they wanted to,
you know,
couldn't.
I didn't expect WWE or anything.
Here I am, you know, I
don't know if TNA
I wanted to be in and out, and here I am all these years later. It's been 37 years or something like that. So,
right?
I'm certainly not a legendary pro wrestler, but when people ask me about writing and media, and I tell them how hard they need to work and have good sources and make sure you communicate and be fair about what you write, I also tell them at the end, you also have to be good. Like, it's not just about how bad you want it, as nice as that would be. You also have to be really good at what you do in order for the thing to last. So yeah. What? I'm sorry.
No, I'll just no comment.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say, you know, I'll let if people think that or believe that, I'll let them speak for me on that one.
Okay, I appreciate the humility. Well, yeah, it's interesting to say that. So I have, and you know,
no, I'll just no comment. Just,
okay.
I was just gonna say, you know, I'll
tell them at the end, you also have to be good. Like, it's not just about how bad you want it, as nice as that would be. You also have to be really good at what you do in order for the thing to last. So yeah. So, I'm sorry.
No, I'll just No comment. I was just going to say, I'll let if people think that or believe that, I'll let them speak for me on that one.
Okay, I appreciate the humility. Well, yeah, it's interesting you say that. So I have, and we all define the things that we do differently. I remember a couple of matches you had with Diamond Dallas Page. It was like title versus title, the first one. You were heavyweight champ, he was U.S. champion, he challenged on a Nitro. And then like a year or two later, you guys had a match. I think you were still world heavyweight champ. And to me, as far as like that run, the Crow Sting run, they were your best matches. I thought you guys went out there and killed it. And my question is, if during that time, and of course we all have like different things we appreciate, if one of those matches during that run was your last match, if you have a match that sticks out and everything kind of stops there, are you satisfied with your career if you have that last great match in 98, 99, 2000, and then that's it?
You referring to any match during that time, or the one?
Yeah, we don't have to have the same favorites. That's what works for me. But if you have like a defining match from back then, where you're like, yeah, this is it, I'm good. If I can't do anything else, I'm good with that.
Man, I'll tell you, the ones with Dallas, I took for granted at the time, and I got to give him most of the credit for those matches and the way they ended up. He really poured in, and he wanted these things to be good. And I don't say that I was going through the motions, because I always wanted it to be good too, and I'm willing to sacrifice and do whatever it takes. But he was just more zealous, to make it all happen in an awesome way, more than I was. And so I regret not being more into it at the time. But yeah, I mean, listening to you say what you said, and knowing that, for example, the Starrcade 97 against Hogan, we had a great build-up, but the match did not follow the build-up. That was sort of a letdown. A lot of things didn't go right that night, and the controversial night. People love to talk about it to this day. But you think about things like that, and knowing that, for example, the Starrcade 97 against Hogan, we had a great build-up, but the match did not follow the build-up. That was sort of a letdown. A lot of things didn't go right that night, and the controversial night. People love to talk about it to this day. But you think about things like that, and then you compare those types of matches with the Flair matches, 45-minute draw. A Clash Champion, no, not Clash Champion. Yeah, it was Clash Champions. It was March of 1988, and some of the great matches I had with Rick, some of the great matches I had with Leon White, Muda, the great Muda. Man, I had so many great matches with some of these guys, and it just seems like those kind of matches didn't really happen again for me until Dallas Page. I would say I had those were really good matches with Dallas, and as I look back now, I have much more appreciation for them than I did. That's for sure. But I'd have to go back through time, to be honest with you, and look and try to remember some of the matches and maybe even watch some of them. But if I had to pick one right now, I'd say, okay, let's go with the Dallas matches.
There we go.
They were good. Yeah.
So with, again, like the way that I'm kind of framing things, like in my head, and as I start to write, is kind of, you were there for kind of the end of WCW. I want to talk TNA for a second too, but in WCW, and it does not have to be super detailed, but are there matches that you feel like you left on the table, or that were left on the table, not specifically from you, but Sting versus whoever? Do you feel like there's anything that you regret not happening during that time?
Not with WCW, no.
Okay.
No.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, that's just an easy, quick answer. Yeah.
Okay. So with okay, so I want to talk about TNA a little bit. It seems like like from the outside in,
So
that's the most creative freedom you may have had. What was the Joker Sting stuff more you? Was that coming from people in the front office? Kind of where did that come about, and what made you? It's something we say. What made you go with that verse? But what kind of inspired you to really bring out kind of that zany, wacky, do anything character? Where did that come from?
Man, just that's really an extension of me. Most people don't see that unless you get to know me. But I do have a personality, and I love to have fun. That's why I can do the Orange Cassidy spots, with ease. I love that kind of stuff. But
I remember
I don't know. It was something that I felt like I needed to again evolve and try something different and step out of the box and take risk and
match stuff.
And I did, and I had so much fun. And that one there was more than any other.
Do you remember
character over the years? That one was
Euro, the TNT title
most
match.
like the real
Sting kind of gave it the nod.
That's really interesting. I never would have thought. That's really cool.
I still got you, homie.
Yeah, I mean, you talk to somebody like Kevin Nash, he'll tell you. Somebody like Marcus Bagwell, he'll tell you. Lex Luger, he'll tell you. The Steiner brothers, they'll tell you. I mean, it was just kind of who I was. I mean, I was constantly doing impersonations, doing voices and accents. And you remember playing cards with Randy Savage in the dressing room, and I was, every hand I was beating him, and every hand I was playing the part of a different person, and I was just on him and on him and on him, and he doing impersonations, doing voices and accents. And you remember playing cards with Randy Savage in the dressing room, and I was, every hand I was beating him, and every hand I was playing the part of a different person, and I was just on him and on him and on him, and he got, so mad because I was taking his money, and he knock it off. I feel like I'm playing 10 different people. It's not fair, And I love that kind of stuff, and so with the Joker Sting.
Really quickly, not to cut you off, I really apologize. Can you give me just a few names of people you were impersonating? I think that'll really add to it.
I forgot.
Oh man, it wouldn't be anybody that maybe you would know. It would be, like you're thinking I'm talking about, impersonating other wrestlers, and I might have done that, but it would have been maybe, their physical actions and not so much their voices. It could be somebody that we see in the airport. It could be,
okay.
I mean, anyone, anywhere, but I love to do accents, and just turn into a different person. So yeah,
that's great. No, that's even better than it being a famous person. That's great. Okay, perfect. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to get that in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and it's like I would have loved to have been a character actor. I did some acting, over the years, and nothing worth anything, believe me. But character acting, I would have loved to have done that. I would have excelled at that, I believe. But I had a lot of fun doing that Joker character. It was sort of hit and miss here in the United States, but man, we went to the UK and went to Wembley there, and they absolutely loved it. I mean, they ate it up. And I had a lot of fun doing that.
We're gonna run a lot of
just another one of those times where I felt like I wanted to evolve.
At the bar.
Yeah. So there's like around a 3-year gap between the end of WCW and then you being over there in TNA. What does that kind of time off do as far as what you can present in ring? Did you feel rusty? Did you feel behind the curve? Like, did it take you a while to adjust?
Sit there and watch.
Like,
Yeah, I knew I was going to have some rust to shake off, but I still felt like I could go, and I knew that I could, and so I wasn't all that concerned. I mean, I did have a little bit of anxiety over it, I suppose, but once you lock up and get in there and start hitting those ropes, and it comes back,
Absolutely.
I was okay at that time, so.
With WCW, that's kind of, you're in there with the super world class talent, the most popular names. You go over to TNA and it's, it's still the Kurt Angles and the AJ Styleses and the Booker T's and Samoa Joes and all those guys. But again, you get kind of that creative freedom. So if things end with TNA, if that's kind of your swan song there, how do you feel about your career at that point?
Well, I had the Joker
kind of towards the end of his career.
Joker Sting thing, but I didn't like the way things were going toward the end there, and I had to walk away. And I thought, wow, I'm just this is a couple times now that I'm sort of disappearing with my tail between my legs, and I always wanted that dream match of mine, along with most wrestling fans all over the globe wanted to see Sting and Taker. And I wanted to have that match, and I thought, I don't think it's ever going to happen, but I still had something that in the back of my mind, I thought, maybe it'll happen at some point, but I don't know. I'm probably done. And so I sort of had a resolve about it all and thought, if I'm done, I'm done. I didn't want to go out that way, but if it's over, it's over. There's life beyond wrestling. And
good fucks in that generation sometimes.
So and then I reached out and sent a text to Vince McMahon and
result. That was like
the Triple H and
dream matches that never
got instant responses from them, and I went up there. And Taker already had something going with Brock at that particular WrestleMania, and ended up doing something with Triple H. And,
I don't know.
Even after Triple H, I thought, I'd still like to make that happen.
Ridiculous.
And even after I left, when the cinematic thing started, I thought, this would be perfect. But I just, I know that it was a one-sided thing. I think I was the only one who really wanted to do that.
Okay. Do you two have any type of relationship or communication, you and Taker? Of course, there's, like you even brought it up, there's so many parallels between the two of you, the longevity, even the cinematic matches. Is there any communication between you and him, whether it's specifically about business or not?
No. Okay. I mean, I bump into him from time to time, but
bring that shit back, Steve.
Okay. Do you two have any type of relationship or communication, you and Taker? Of course, there's, like you even brought it up, there's so many parallels between the two of you, the longevity, even the cinematic matches. Is there any communication between you and him, whether it's specifically about business or not?
But I just, I know that it was a one-sided thing. I think I was the only one who really wanted to do that.
Okay. Do you two have any type of relationship or communication, you and Taker? Of course, there's, like you even brought it up, there's so many parallels between the two of you, the longevity, even the cinematic matches. Is there any communication between you and him, whether it's specifically about business or not?
No. I mean, I bump into him from time to time, but no, we don't stay in touch.
Understood. Okay. Right. So, let's see what I'd like to ask about now. What is it that you are looking to inspire in or bring out in younger talent? You talked about Darby, the guys you've worked with. They've all been like super receptive and appreciative. Are there any kind of defining ideas, words, ideals that you have for the people in the locker room who, who see you and are listening to you and look up to you?
Man, I've tried to teach Darby and some of the other guys the less is more thing, which that was a lesson that I learned turning into that Crow character. So, yeah, I mean, less is more. I mean, so many guys in this business and girls, you know, I mean, there's just too much going on. They're trying too hard with gimmicks and stuff and one-liners and taglines, and it's like, and they're jumping into it too early, you know. It's like, let it all sort of evolve organically and see where that leads. You know, as long as you're not dogging it in the ring and wrestling fans see that you're out there, you know, you're balls to the walls.
That's a great song.
You know, they're going to appreciate that. And over time, you know, it will elevate you. So as a matter of fact, you know, on that, you know, losing a match, match after match after match. I mean, losing done right elevates, in my opinion. One thing that I learned how to do is I learned how to lose. I learned how to lose in such a way that, you know, by the time the match was over, I was somehow or another elevated. You know, I always tried to, you know, put out so much effort, you know, during the match that, you know, when I did lose, you know, that wrestling fans might think it was a horrible thing. You know, it's like, what? He lost? What? I mean, what? I mean, come on, you know, where they'd want you to win, you know, the next match, you know. And on that, you know, if you don't like an idea, if you don't like what's going on, then don't just come in and say, I don't like it, or I'm not going to do it. Just come up with a better idea. Another thing I'm trying to show a lot of these guys is don't just say, I'm not going to do it, or I don't like it. You know, just come up with a better idea. I mean, come up with an idea that's good for everybody, good for not just you, your opponent, and good for the company, good for the wrestling fans.
Kind of like the scuttlebutt.
I've never seen this.
I think that, you know, the less is more thing with regard to shock and awe. You know, some guys, too many of them, in my opinion, go for what we call the cheap pop. They're going for shock value, and you can only get by with so much of that, you know, in my opinion.
Because what
involving the crowd, that's one of the things that I always tried to do, and listen to the crowd too. Not only involve them in your matches. In other words, you got to acknowledge the crowd at some point. And there's key times to do these kind of things. But
with this new,
it's like, you know, this is entertainment, and everybody knows it. So try to involve the crowd, and you know, you don't pretend that this is something else. And then, you know, there's life after wrestling.
I think that's our last name.
There's something bigger.
Yeah.
And I've already touched on it already, but you know, if family, you know, if you got kids, you got a wife at home, you got a husband at home, I mean,
she's already kind of
that's got to be first and foremost, and of course God.
Washington.
There's a lot of people out there, a lot of the guys, and you know, in Hollywood and everywhere. There's so much depression. You know, this whole thing with COVID and the direction, the trajectory that our whole country is on right now. It's crazy times we're living in right now, and it's causing a lot of people to be depressed and having, you know, drugs and anger and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, you know, I'd like to inspire them to look
do a press conference
to other
if you're not going to the lockers, not
places of healing, like God, you know. And I've had great opportunities to talk with so many of the guys about God, and boy, some of the conversations they've just been really, really incredible. I don't forget where I came from, you know, because I was, again, one of those guys messed up, you know, and you know, I was depressed, and I was on drugs, and I was drinking alcohol and making all the wrong choices. And it's like, you know, there's something beyond wrestling, you know, that I always kind of knew that. But like, what is it? You know, what is it? And so for me, it's God. So I'm going to be, you know, the wrestler that talks about Jesus Christ. I'm going to be the one that talks about God. And if I can help anyone in the area of cleaning their lives up and getting out of depression. I mean, doctors are okay, psychologists, and you know, and talking to people, that's always good. And you know, but I mean,
in person.
we're going to try to push people toward Christ.
Absolutely. No, I'm a firm believer that, the people who do have longevity in our lives are meant to help us and steer us. So I think that's a beautiful thing. Absolutely. Back to longevity. So you are, one of the participants in Muda's retirement match.
Well, I only went.
Just what does it mean to you to be, to be asked upon to do something like that? Somebody you've had, a relationship with, at least professionally, for 3-4 decades. What does it mean to you to be asked to be a part of that? What do you, hope to accomplish with that? Just, however you want to go there.
And can you repeat that whole thing?
I apologize. I'm sorry. You got me emotional. So I'm talking to you to be asked to be a part of that. What do you, hope to accomplish? Absolutely. Back to longevity. So you are, one of the participants in Muda's retirement match. Just what does it mean to you to be, to be asked upon to do something like that? Somebody you've had, a relationship with, at least professionally, for 3-4 decades. What does it mean to you to be asked to be a part of that? What do you, hope to accomplish with that? Just, however you want to go there.
And can you repeat that whole thing?
I apologize. I'm sorry. You got me emotional. So I'm talking lower. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, that's okay.
But no, being a part of Muda's retirement match and being selected on and called upon to do that. Just if you want to talk about how that makes you feel, the responsibility and anything along those lines.
They were playing Utah.
Yeah, I was honored, first of all, that Muda wanted me to do that. I talked to him a couple of years ago and saw him here in the United States, and he was asking me if I'd want to come back, and I said I would consider doing it. Yeah, and a couple of years went by, and he's now coming to the end of his career, and he reached out again and said, "Man, I'd love to have you."
Ricky's gonna win.
Involved somehow or another, whatever you're willing to do. And, we talked it through, and
hell, if Ricky wins,
I'm actually going to get in there and wrestle, Darby and I and Muda against 3 others. And I'm looking forward to that. And just blown away that, he's like the last one of our era in Japan standing. And the similarities between the two of us, we were always so much alike as far as our size and abilities. Styles were different, but I loved working with him in Japan. I loved working with him here in the United States. I mean, the Fukuoka Dome and the Tokyo Dome, 65,000 people, and I'll never forget those times with the great Muda. And so I'm looking forward to coming back, realizing it will undoubtedly be the last match that I'll ever have in Japan. And maybe the last appearance in Japan at all, as far as wrestling goes. And so glad that he thought of me.
I'm like, y'all,
glad that he wants me in the match, and I'm going there and just want to pull out all the stops and want it to be as good as it can possibly be for wrestling fans, for Great Muda, and for the wrestling industry as a whole. So we'll hopefully leave some kind of a Sting Muda legacy with Darby right there along with us. I think it's a great opportunity for Darby to be there. I'm glad he's going to be coming, and it's going to be his first over there, and it's going to be great, man. I think it's going to be a memory that no one will forget.
Absolutely. I made the mistake once. I was talking to Tony Storm, and I said dream match, and she had the best response I've ever heard to dream match. She said, if it's a dream, it shouldn't be happening. I deal in reality, and I loved it. It was beautiful. And so to mix that a little bit with you, I mean, you had so many matches, and it does not have to be perfectly laid out, but when it's time, Lord willing, it happens in a way that you want. But when it's time for Sting's swan song, Sting's final match, just who is involved in that? Does that have to be, I want to face X wrestler one-on-one in a cage or anything like that? But who's involved? Who's a part of that?
39? Okay.
Well, I know Darby's going to be a part of it for sure. I won't have a singles match at this point. So Darby will be along with me, and I'll be along with him, and we can add more to it as far as I'm concerned. But I really, I have a few.
Damn, I ran out of juice on my phone because I had too many videos and shit. Oh, you paused it?
No, I didn't even touch it.
What?
And I really don't want to say.
No, you
I
can
don't
keep
wanna
that
say
close
right
to the
now.
vest. You're fine. I understand.
Close to the best.
Yeah, Darby being involved. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I, there are some people that I would love to have, an opportunity with in the ring. And the main thing for me is, no matter who it is, no matter if it's an individual match, a singles match, or tag, or 6-man, 8-man tag, I just want wrestling fans.
I'm sure that was a misspeak.
All over the world, everywhere, to just, walk away scratching their heads going,
I'm sure.
Unreal, man.
Sure.
I want them to just be left with a memory that they'll never forget, a good positive memory,
that's dope. Look at Renee's.
So yeah, and really even leading up to that's all I want. I want fans to be thoroughly, entertained and just having a good time and reminiscing with me as history begins to come to an end. As the last wave comes into shore.
Although the way his book is probably,
I want to ride it with all those who want to come on with me.
Absolutely. Hey, just a few more things, and I'll let you go. Okay. So you spoke a little bit about your WWE run. We are all kind of familiar with that. That kind of, I guess, coming to a close due to injury. At least this is, us seeing it on the outside looking in. How did you feel at that point, thinking that might be it? That kind of being the end chapter on your career. Did you even interpret it like that?
Kitchen table, chopping it up.
And I actually did at the time. It was a pretty scary thing, My legs just turned into rubber, and what is going on? But
that match, his legs.
Maybe really, really not smart, but the whole time I'm thinking I gotta get up, I gotta finish this, I gotta we gotta take this thing home, So somehow or another got myself back up to my feet, and I started to get a little bit of feeling back in my legs, and we finished and went off and had my CT scans and MRIs and all that kind of stuff. And I really thought that that was going to be it. I know my wife was like, "Please, you got to stop. This is you got to stop." And I had doctors looking at me, and I never had any surgery. Spoke with Steve Austin, spoke with Adam, Edge, and some others who've had, surgeries, and they're saying, don't do it. And so I held off from getting it done. And probably 4, 5, 6 weeks after it, I had, pain in my left strap coming down on the left side in the back there that was just like couldn't get it comfortable
Like,
in
Edge had a different
laying down, sitting up, walking. It didn't matter. It was sort of, and it
probably,
just
like, tell
over time just eased up and got better. And I was able to, get back in the gym and train and do. And so I think that I am
all right. So
okay as far as the neck goes. And
Find
but
out.
yeah, it's amazing that I end up coming back. I didn't think that I was on that particular night. So
Those two names, I was actually at the Rumble when Edge returned. The amazing pop in the building. That was insane. And of course, I saw, Austin at this most recent WrestleMania. What does it mean to you, just emotionally, as friends, as colleagues, watching them be able to resume their careers in different ways, after those similar injuries?
yeah, I mean, more power to them. I mean, both of them killed it, in my opinion, and I'm happy for them. I'm not surprised. I mean, these guys know what they're doing, and they've got their hand on the pulse of the wrestling industry and fans, and they understand, and they're willing to step out. And it's not even I wouldn't even call it a calculated risk. They're just. They know what they're doing, and I know what I'm doing. And I'm not saying that an accident or a catastrophe can't happen. I mean, it can happen, crossing the street. So, but I think that they know what they're doing, and they came out there and did it, and fans loved it, and the rest is history. And let's move on.
But
Absolutely. Okay, just two more things. I do not feel like I gave the proper respect to you and Darby's relationship. What is it about him specifically that kind of has you really attached to him? Personality, style, ideals. What makes you want to help him become the best that he can be specifically?
And I don't know, man. I was just like,
well, he's got the paint on the face, got the war paint going.
Yeah.
So I love that. He's got the blonde hair, kind of like I had when I first started Surfer Sting, and so he's like the young guy who didn't know anyone in the wrestling industry. He didn't have an uncle, a father, a cousin, a brother, a friend. Nobody. That helped him to get into the pro wrestling industry. It's just same with me, I mean, he slept in his car. His address was his car. Same with me. He didn't have a lot of food to eat at times. It's just same with me. And he came in and busted his butt, and and he thinks outside the box. He is willing to risk. He never dogs it in the ring.
Yeah.
The guy is I talk about balls to the walls. Well, that's Darby. He's got a work ethic that is really, really good, and he loves to think of
annihilated.
Innovative and creative ways to entertain, whether it be the physical aspect of the match or even just a video promoting a match. He's even with his attire and his gimmick and what he does. He puts so much effort into these things and doesn't want to do what everybody else does. Just the same way I was. When I first started, I wasn't going to do what I saw everybody else doing. I wanted to change. I wanted to evolve. I wanted to do stuff different than what anyone was doing, and from personality to moves and everything in the ring. And Darby's just like that. Everything that he does is believable. I tried to make all my stuff believable over the years, and for Darby, there is life beyond wrestling as well. And I'm not saying necessarily God. I'm working on it, though.
I got you.
Ruined.
But no, he's a very creative guy, and he's got ties with some pretty influential people all over the country. And I believe that if he stays in the wrestling industry, if he stays here with the AEW, that eventually he's going to be, he'll have some sort of creative control and some sort of leadership role where he's to coordinating, and I believe that he has the ability to do something in film, anything that has to do with art, anything that has to do with risking your life. He's going to do. This guy's jumping off bridges 100 feet high. He's jumping over his houses with cars, and so he has interest in skateboarding. He's he loves to just be out and about and rubbing shoulders with people that love to experience life to its fullest, and he's just one of those kind of guys. And so for him, there's so much life beyond wrestling. Like he's like I was too. It's like when the match is over and you go home, you take the wrestling hat off. He's going to get on a skateboard. He's built his own skate park behind his house, and so he's doing stunts and jumps, and he's got all the 4-wheelers and everything like that going on around the house, and he's jumping stuff with 4-wheelers, and he's got some plans coming up that are just going to be wild. And the world will see, but they'll see Darby beyond wrestling. Darby's days off.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Okay, great. And the last thing, I didn't know that you and I would be talking. I've actually been working on a different thing for The Ringer. It started out about the Definitive War Games, where you kind of walked out on the team because they didn't trust you. And then as time went on, that kind of morphed into the 25th anniversary of Starrcade, which is going to be like next week. And so just really, really briefly, I think it's mostly going to be my words, not other people's, but Starrcade 97, you mentioned kind of earlier, didn't quite go the way you wanted it to. In brief, if you could just say, hey, this is what I think didn't work, if you have anything to add to that.
Well, what didn't work, in my opinion, is everyone's on the same page and moving in the same direction. We have a plan. We have a goal. We get to the building. We get there that day, and everything changes. And everyone's on the same page and moving in the same direction. We have a plan. We have a goal. We get to the building. We get there that day, and everything changes. And we didn't know for sure what we were going to do, literally, until we walked through the curtain.
Yeah.
And it was a day of just confusion and chaos, last minute, meetings behind closed door meetings, and just, it was old school pro wrestling, man, as good as it gets. A lot of chess playing.
I really, really appreciate your time. As a kid who used to watch Nitro upstairs in the game room in '96 and stay up past my bedtime. This is one of those bucket list things. I really do appreciate your time, sir.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you very much, Cam. It's good talking with you.
Right.
Absolutely, guys. All right. Have a great rest of your evening.
You all too. Thank you so much. Have happy holidays. All right.
Thing say Merry Christmas, motherfucker.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Cam.
Merry Christmas as well. You take care.
The Sound Congress podcast.
You need to have that as a soundbite.
Merry Christmas, motherfucker. But no, man. All right. So let's get to this pre-show, man. You want to run through predictions real quick?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Can I've seen people.
Is Max coming back tonight?
No, God no. Max is not coming back tonight. He doesn't need to. I've seen people say this has been one of AEW's most well-built shows, just because I think I've seen more conversations about people being excited about the shows, not knowing not knowing the outcomes of matches, where they go back and forth. And I guess this kind of goes back to the old restoring the feeling, where Tony was restoring the feeling. What do we want to start with?
Okay, Bang Bang Scissor Gang.
I don't care. Don't care.
Jarrett Singh Lethal, Willie Mack and Private Party. What do you got?
I don't care. I think this is actually one of the worst things they have in television right now.
I'll take the champs.
Okay. The champs, but I hate what they're doing with this right now. I actively hate what they're doing with this.
Julia Hart and Sky Blue versus Stat and Willow.
So it's interesting. So I don't know if it's happening tonight. But if it doesn't happen tonight, probably Dynamite soon. I think Stat and Willow win. But I think Stokely betrays them, and he brings in new heavies.
New heavies.
Megan Bain, who's already on the active AEW roster,
That is
and Camille, free agent to be, was that recently asked about that by Doofus Steve Fall in the media call the other day.
Did you call him a doofus?
Yeah, he's a doofus. I could say worse about him, but I think a doofus.
I'm gonna tell you something when we're off the air.
Okay, cool. But yeah, Camille was brought up in the Revolution media call, and I've kind of been keen to that the last 3 weeks.
You were keen to it?
Keen to it, yes.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but yes, give me the team of Stat and Willow, and then getting jumped and betrayed by Stokely at some point.
All-Star Scramble. Waffle House is right down the street.
Woo!
Jericho, Wardlow, Hobbs, Archer, Hook, Cage, Magnus, Dante Martin.
Hobbs.
I'm gonna take Hobbs too.
Yeah,
I think that him having a title shot down the road is long overdue.
it's good business.
FTR versus Moxley and Claudio.
Man,
That's a tough one, right?
it's crazy on the amount of good shit they have on this. Because obviously we saw Dax and Mox live, and it's fantastic, obviously. And I really enjoyed the 6-man that they had this past Wednesday. I'm almost looking forward more. Like, this is like number 2. Like, which to me, this is just me, my taste. I'm not saying this is better than Osprey and Takeshita, which will be 7 fucking stars probably. But like how this transpired out of nowhere, it's really good. And I think it's bringing kind of heft direction to the tag team division. Give me Mox and Claudio, I think.
Mox and Claudio.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's gonna be early contender for match of the night. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
fantastic.
I think it's probably open too.
Christian defends the title against Daniel Garcia. I feel like Christian wins before what? Like, I feel like he can do what he does, and they can give Garcia a title, and it'd still be fine. But I don't know who the person is that's supposed. Is Nick Wayne supposed to beat Christian for the title?
No.
Okay, you had Garcia in main events for so long. Garcia's so good.
It's time.
I think it's time.
The losing arc that he had the past, I guess you could probably say 4 to 5 months.
Mhm.
And then his performance in the C2 was done. I don't want to say for no reason at all. I think there was actually some heft and purpose behind that. And especially since you had kind of like the weird Copeland one, but then he lost the title, there's really no reason for them to lose. There's no reason for Cage to lose to Copeland again for the title. So and Christian is so great. I love Christian Cage. Like, how is this man fucking 50 and doing his best work in the business right now?
Turned down an interview. Doesn't want to mess up the character. He's so good.
Just so good. But he can do this without the title. I think it's time. Give me DJ.
You talk about a match that. Why did he do that?
Yeah.
You talk about a match that can steal the show. OC Roderick
Strong.
Is it time?
It's time.
Shout out to Roddy. Listen, Roddy is my dream interview. And like, I can do it. It's just like my platform. It's not the right angle. I'll do it for Fightful for free. Like, I'm probably going to do it if they let me do it. Because, like, I love Roddy Strong. I love you, Roger Strong. As much as a man can love a man he's never met platonically, love you, Roger Strong. You're amazing.
Somebody flip that.
Don't flip it. I think it is time. I think it's time. Like OC, he's so good. But again, guys who don't need belts have belts.
It's unfortunate with the Phoenix stuff. It just the lore of Orange Cassidy wearing down kind of ended at All Out last year when Moxley beat him. I don't think Moxley should have beaten Orange Cassidy. That's just me. I don't think Moxley. There was no reason for Moxley to win that belt. I think Orange could have won and just been completely fine. And it's not Orange's fault. Like that title reign that he was having was Gunther-esque. It was not going to be replicated, and it's unfortunate. But like, there's not really anything for him to do with the belts. I had said, maybe there was potential for somebody like Take to beat OC for the belt, maybe. But I think Strong winning gives Undisputed Kingdom more purpose, more legitimacy.
Yes. Wow. Until Cole gets back.
Yes.
Put a belt on him. I agree.
And Strong can still do Orange Cassidy workhorse stuff. Just, be a heel.
Ospreay to Takeshita.
I kind of want Take to win because Take's my guy. He's a fucking unit. Like, have you seen the pictures of Takeshita lately? He
should be playing tight end for somebody.
He looks like
I would love a Japanese NFL tight end.
God,
because I don't know him. I imagine all tight ends are himbos. So big, goofy Japanese guy with amazing hands and timing. I would love that.
He's as wide as a brick shit house, man. Just like
you pause yourself and you still had to get that right.
Yeah, man. He's a unit. I want him to kind of win. It would be very AEW for Ospreay to lose his first match, but he won't. I was really surprised the reaction he got at Huntsville, Alabama. Of all places.
If you a big motherfucker, regardless of language barriers, cultural barriers, if you a big motherfucker, they like you, especially over there.
No, I was talking about Ospreay though.
Ospreay.
Yeah. I was shocked. I was because that's not their hotbed.
If they keep calling you the best in the world, I think it resonates.
Yeah. Well, because they were singing a song a little bit, so I was and that crowd was kind of they were kind of up and down all night. But
you say you brought me around to Ospreay?
No,
High On brought me around to Ospreay.
Really? Okay.
Because she was like that Ospreay Oku match, not this most recent one, but a previous one. She was like, "Yo, me and Rachel built our feud around what they did. If your peers, like Paul George, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all know Paul George is a good NBA player. Nobody would dispute that. But when I saw the reverence that other players had for Paul George, I felt different about Paul George. You know what I mean? That's who Ospreay is to these independent wrestlers. Ospreay's their guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They look at him. That's their Kobe.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of okay, I even as a fan or an analyst or whatever, I need to look at this different because the reverence that your peers have for you should influence how I look at what you do. Yeah. So yeah, man, he's gonna, and that fucking talk, his accent is so fucking heavy. He's such a fucking. I don't know the UK word for the thing that I'm thinking of, but he's the fucking Joe Dirt of the UK. It's so deep.
It's really fun. It's interesting because obviously there's the cultural thing about Ospreay. Because I think if you're over there in the UK, you're not really huge on Ospreay. But I think enough people recognize his game, and a lot of an interesting take I heard from Michael Cedric over in What Culture is he seems.
Shout out to What Culture.
What culture?
What culture?
I don't know. Wilburn.
Here are the top 10 reasons that you should never watch wrestling again.
Shit. What was I gonna say?
My 5 favorite matches that happened in my backyard.
Oh my god! Don't be a dick. Come on, they're good.
I love it. I watch all the shit.
Simon Miller. Come on.
Here are the reasons that I think wrestling is the worst thing to ever exist.
He said. He basically said his opening promo had welcome you to Monday Night Raw feels, but he said, you know what, he actively wants it and wants to be there, and that's probably what AEW needs right now.
Here are the top 20 things to say to a stripper before you're giving her your pounds. Pause. I love it. What culture? Shout out to my dog. Have you met them? You're gonna meet them in Philly.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet them.
They're great. They're great.
Yeah,
because they just be on the block with microphones, talking like this is great. Everybody, can you please come around? I'm very tall with red hair. I'm outside of the arena. I would love to tell you about wrestling. I'm wearing a green suit with logos on it.
Now we gotta get some drinks with the lads.
Here are the top 10 reasons we should drink at the bar.
Somebody clip that.
I love it. Don't clip it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But does that make sense though?
No, absolutely.
Just because a lot of people might have seen his kind of, I guess, attitude, kind of cheesy cornballer. Because just because like you think of Ospreay in the Tokyo Dome, you don't really see him kind of chipper and stuff. But like, I think he understands he has to kind of approach like television differently. And honestly, like, I don't know the guy. I've never talked to the guy, but I think, especially after the pro match, he's been very adamant and appreciative and thankful because Tony Khan's changed his life.
Will Ospreay sounds like a cigarette split down the middle.
Whoa.
But he's fantastic. Like, again, he's so good.
Bro.
He's fantastic.
How about
like,
how about them leaning into the shirt? Are you gonna get a bro shirt?
I'm not getting a fucking
bro shirt.
I'll steal it to burn it.
Okay, you have to either buy a bro shirt or the tracksuit. Where you wearing?
Tracksuit is fly. Like, again, I like
and other people make fun of me with the tracksuit.
I was like, he dresses like a person. Like, I love people who dress like people. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Tony Storm, Deonna Purrazzo. I think Tony retains, but it's man shenanigans.
I don't think so. I think this is probably going to be the closest Tony Storm, the wrestler, that we've gotten in her current downtrodden 50s gimmick. I think this is actually going to be pretty clean, I think. Just because I think the division needs it, first and foremost. And I think this is obviously the best kind of well-told story for a championship in the women's division they've ever done.
Yeah.
I mean, I like, don't get me wrong, I think Thunder being Britt and San Antonio for the belt and steel cage, that was dope, but I called that like way before when Thunder lost. I think that was what was that? Revolution Full Gear that she lost to Britt again, only by shenanigans. I knew they were going to steel cage, but this didn't have like the details to everything that they've done with the tattoos. Yes, Bully Ray, like we all understand what the tattoos are. Dumbass, like I cannot believe that shit. Where's the story, bro? Like fucking pay attention, idiot.
That's cool. Did I tell you I spent a day with Mariah May once?
Pause.
Who's pause? I spent a day with Mariah May. It was awesome.
Yeah, I bet she's a fucking star, man.
She's
like more Mariah May on television.
A sweet girl.
Yeah, I bet.
Really is. Like, and shout out to her, man. Like anybody, like if you go and play your trade in Japan and then come back and get to the money, man, respect.
I think me and you have talked about this because we're fans of NXT. Although the last couple of weeks have been not so great. I need more campy from my NXT. I just haven't seen a lot of it. The way they've dropped her in there and kind of gave her, an NXT kind of backstory and just, hey, you are a character. We're going to introduce you to the audience consistently before you actually wrestle. Because how many times have they dropped random wrestler from the indies and just been like, we know her, but the audience doesn't connect. But they're just like telling you, hey, I'm from Stardom. I'm a big fan of yours, Tony Storm. It's like, yeah, you can carry my bags. But I think they've done a fantastic job with her. I think on the night, tonight, especially the history, I think Deonna will hoop because I've seen some people kind of like not impressed with her weekly output, but the thing where Deonna has gotten her reputation, she's a hooper. When the lights are brightest, she's a hooper. So I think they'll have a great match.
Got to start a hooper count on the show. If you say it more than 3 times, we'll buzz you.
Okay.
She's fantastic though, isn't she?
Yeah.
Her technical prowess she's very, very good.
Yeah. But Tony for the win. I think it's clean.
Yeah. Tony clean. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Triple threat match for the AEW World Championship. Samoa Joe defending against Hangman Page. I'm gonna say this right now. Well, you were there. Oh, you were there, but maybe you didn't. No comment. What do you think is gonna happen?
My heart says Swerve, but my head says Joe.
Okay.
I want Swerve to get this moment. My only concern is him winning the belt tonight. I want the entire, like, if Swerve was going to win the belt on a pay-per-view, I want this to be about him. And I just feel like it's going to be overshadowed. and I want him to just have all the moment. You know, that's just me being a selfish fan, and I want him all the attention and glory to be to him. But
what's more important to Adam Page tonight? Winning the title or making sure Swerve doesn't win the title?
Swerve doesn't win the title.
Okay.
So Joe.
I think that's the most interesting thing to me about that match. What Page does.
Yes.
Okay. In the main event, Sting and Darby Allin defended the AEW World Tag Team Championship against the Young Bucks.
Man, I've gone back and forth on this because the old ways say you got to go on your sword, right?
Yeah,
you have to. But, and I kind of feel like I've had different, you're in different chats, group chats, discussions like I am. And I'm torn. I don't know. I thought initially when I predicted the Bucks were going to be Sting's last opponent. It was the easiest call out there without them hitting you over the head with it. Are the Bucks winning the belts in this new gimmick makes the most sense, especially if they're looking to potentially write off Darby because he's got to go climb mountains. I don't know how long he's going to be gone for that. I didn't know if this was a potential to write him off afterwards. I know that in it's breaking kayfabe, especially if they're trying to do this big, emotional stuff with Sting afterwards. So, fuck it, Sting and Darby. I want it. Because if Sting and Darby win, the Bucks can easily beat Moxley and Claudio or FTR. Well, yeah, they could easily beat FTR and regain the titles. And I don't even think it's about the Bucks winning the titles. I think it's more important for them to do what they wanted to do and main event a pay-per-view with with tag team wrestling. That's what they wanted to do, since they started the company.
Sting and Darby retain. Vacate the belts. Let's get on to the next. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to jump on the free stream, and then we'll be watching the show. We'll be live tweeting. Brian, where can they find you places?
At Brian's Zone, pretty basic with my Twitter handle, but yeah. And at PW Torch for Collision, because I'm a Collision Cowboy. Cam, if you didn't know.
You can't just be a Collider?
I'm a Collision Cowboy.
You had to.
Collision Cowboy, sir.
You had to do that?
Yes. Weekly reviewer of Collision, and I will hopefully have a lot of WrestleMania content for PW Torch.
It's going to be a fun time.
It's going to be crazy. We should probably start planning that. Yeah.
Shout out to all the strip clubs we're going to attend.
Whoa.
I don't even know if we go to a strip club.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll do more stuff when it's time to do more stuff. Cam Tackles Twitch, 3-3-24, Sting's last match. And we're out.